Welcome, true crime enthusiasts, to a tale that will transport you to the sacred and mysterious lands of India, where the spiritual and the spectral intertwine in the ancient city of Varanasi. This is the story of the ghost train of Varanasi, a narrative where the tracks of history meet the rails of the supernatural, where each whistle could be a call to the afterlife, and where every journey might lead to an eternity of wandering souls. Varanasi, known as one of the oldest cities in the world, lies on the banks of the holy river Ganges, a place where life and death dance in perpetual harmony. It's a city where the living perform rites for the dead, where the air is thick with incense and the whispers of the past. Among its many legends, none is more chilling than that of the ghost train, a phantom locomotive said to run the tracks at midnight, carrying souls to their next journey or perhaps trapping them in an endless loop. The story begins in the late 19th century when the British introduced railways to India. A particular train route through Varanasi was plagued by accidents, derailments, and disappearances. The most infamous incident occurred on a moonless night in 1898 when a train, known locally as the Ganges Express, vanished without a trace. No wreckage, no survivors, just an empty stretch of track where the train should have been. The last known communication from the train was a telegraph message that read, "Approaching Varanasi, all is well," followed by silence. Local lore quickly spun tales of the train being cursed, of it becoming a vehicle for the spirits of those who died along its route, unable to move on due to unfinished business or due to the sanctity of Varanasi, where death is not an end but a transformation. The city, according to Hindu belief, is where one can achieve liberation from the cycle of rebirth, but for some, the transition between worlds seems to have been interrupted, leaving their spirits bound to the tracks. Over the decades, numerous accounts have surfaced of people seeing the ghost train. Witnesses described seeing an old steam engine, its lights flickering like distant stars, moving silently along the tracks, sometimes disappearing into thin air or passing through objects. Some have reported hearing the mournful whistle far from any known train schedule, a sound that chills the soul, beckoning or warning. Others have spoken of seeing passengers, their forms ethereal, looking out from the windows, faces of sadness or longing, trapped in moments of their lives. One chilling narrative comes from a night watchman in the early 20th century who claimed to have boarded the ghost train. He reported stepping onto an empty platform where suddenly a train appeared, its doors open. Inside, he found carriages filled with people from different eras, dressed in clothes from various times, all silent except for the whispers of their conversations. He heard names, dates, places, all from the past, some even speaking of futures that had not yet come to pass. He fled in terror, but not before noticing that among the passengers was his own face, much older, staring back at him from the future. In the 1970s, a journalist, Rajesh Kumar, decided to investigate these claims. He spent nights on the tracks, camera in hand, hoping to capture evidence. On his fourth night, he recorded what appeared to be an apparition of a train, its lights dim and otherworldly, moving without sound. His footage was grainy, but the shape was unmistakable. More chilling, however, were the voices he captured on audio, not of the living but of those long departed, speaking in languages and dialects spanning centuries, discussing their fates, their regrets, or their longing for release. His most unsettling recording was of a child's voice, repeatedly asking, "When will we reach Varanasi?" despite the fact that the train was already there. The psychological horror of the ghost train lies in its implications. The train is not just a ghost, but a symbol of the human condition, of journeys that never end, of lives left unresolved. It's said that those who see the train might glimpse their own mortality or face their fears of what lies beyond. The train could be seen as a physical manifestation of the Hindu concept of samsara, the cycle of death and rebirth, where one's deeds and desires in life dictate the journey of the soul. In modern times, with the advent of technology, more attempts have been made to study this phenomenon. Paranormal researchers have set up equipment along the tracks, capturing electromagnetic anomalies, sudden drops in temperature, and even shadowy figures on infrared cameras. One team recorded a voice claiming to be from the train, warning of the dangers of unfinished business in life. They also captured images of spectral figures not just on the train but walking beside it, suggesting a procession of souls, some finding their way, others lost in time. The most harrowing account comes from a young woman, Anjali, who in 2015 was found wandering near the tracks after being missing for 3 days. She spoke of boarding the ghost train, of a journey where time did not exist, where she met her deceased grandfather, who had died in a train accident years ago. She described the train as a place where one could see all moments of one's life simultaneously, a psychological torture or perhaps a form of enlightenment. Her descriptions included visions of other passengers, each experiencing their own personal hell or heaven, reliving moments they could neither escape nor resolve. She claimed to have seen the train's destination, not Varanasi but a place beyond, where the tracks led into a vast, swirling void, a metaphor, perhaps, for the unknown journey after death. Anjali's story ended with her insisting she had to return to the train to finish her journey, a sentiment that led to her institutionalization, her mind caught between this world and the next. Another documented case involved a group of students from Banaras Hindu University who decided to conduct a vigil by the tracks for a school project. They used modern equipment to document their experience, but their night turned from academic to terrifying when they encountered what they believed was the ghost train. Their cameras captured images of a train moving without sound, its carriages filled with light and shadow, not passengers. One student claimed to have felt a hand on his shoulder, turning to see no one there, only to hear a whisper in his ear saying, "Your stop is next." As we leave the mystical tracks of Varanasi behind, remember, in some places, the past doesn't just linger, it rides alongside the present, on tracks that lead to destinations unknown. The ghost train of Varanasi is a reminder that our final journey might not be as straightforward as we hope, that some stories are not just told but lived in the shadows of history and the light of eternity. It's a tale where the cycle of life, death, and rebirth becomes a literal journey, a place where the spiritual journey of the soul is laid bare on the tracks for all to see or fear. Thank you for joining us on this spectral journey. Until next time, listen for the distant whistle and sleep well if you can.